Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and spirit directly through channeling about what your family is saying about you behind your back, what's the rumors about you, what's the gossip about you, what are your family members saying about you, and how are they describing you, how are they talking about you, like, and your achievements and your life just in general, like what's tea, and so but I'm keeping it in the family. It's not the general gossip, like it's only narrowed down to your family members. So I have 4 groups here that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, and this will be group number 4. And I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can always just pause the video. But if you don't need any more time, then I'll just move on to the reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose this Tarot Cats tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So group number 1, the people who will choose group number 1, what's group number 1's family saying about group number 1 behind group number 1's back? What's group number 1's family saying about them behind their back? Okay, so it's not negative at all. It's more that your family seems to be a bit concerned with you, like that you're doing too much at the same time, or that you're stretching yourself out on too broad of a field, or that you're doing too many things at once, trying to juggle too many things at once. And I think some of your family members might be a bit afraid that you're going to burn out, that you're going to be too stressed out because of this, that it's going to take a toll on you, mostly physically, I think. For some of you, I think it's mentally for others of you, but for some of you, I think it could be physical, that you're in physical pain a lot, or that you're just in physical stress. Like you can, like your family members might have noticed that about you, that you seem very tense physically, like your muscles are very tense, and that I don't think you complain a lot about your physical pain. I think you kind of keep it a bit to yourself, so you're not very expressive about it, but I think it's quite obvious to your family when you are actually in physical pain, because they can see it on you. Like they can see that you are exhausted, or when you do something physically, they can see that you might shake a bit, or your muscles might shake, or like it's hard for you. And so there are some family members that are quite concerned about this and are talking about this with other family members, and talking about what could be causing this, or like is it because you're doing too much, or that you're not taking care of yourself, or that you're not giving yourself the break that you need. There might also be something about sleeping. Maybe you have some insomnia, or maybe insomnia actually runs in your family. So maybe your parents might be concerned that you have it too, or maybe they suspect that, or something like that. But I'm gonna shuffle the cards and see what comes out. So what's group number one's family saying about them behind their back? Some of you might have some kind of what's it called? Osteopopsy, or what? Some kind of disease with the bones. And bone marrow, or bones, or something to do with bones, your bones, or this could be something that some family members are suspecting that you might suffer from, maybe because it runs in your family too, and so maybe osteoporosis, something, yeah. But yeah, 8 of Swords. So yes, I think there's a lot about suffering and silence. I think, and that is also why your family is actually talking about this, because you're not being verbal about it, so they are kind of being verbal about it on your behalf. So that like, if you were verbal about your pain or your physical state, if you had been verbal about it, or if you were verbal about it, then your family wouldn't have to talk about it behind your back, because then they would know, and then there wouldn't be a discussion about it. So it seems that your family is discussing this because they feel like you're suffering in silence. You're not being verbal about it. You're not talking about your pain. You're not being honest about it as well. Like, I feel like some family members, maybe especially a sibling of yours, or your parents, or I don't know, but like, I feel like, or a sibling of your parents, so like your uncle or aunt, or someone like that, might be talking about how you might be lying, not in a negative way, but downplaying some of your symptoms and acting as if there's nothing wrong with you. Or this could be the opposite, but I feel like it's more the other way around. But for some of you, it could also be that some family members actually feel like you are lying about your pain. So if you have been verbal about your pain, then maybe some family members don't believe that you actually have it. So it can be both, but that's more rare. I think that's less likely, I feel like, but it could resonate with some of you. If that's the case, I think it's actually the opposite. So I think like your some family members might question whether you actually have pain or not, but it's not like, I can tell that it's like you're not lying about it, because it's coming in quite strongly that you have pain, and that it is quite obviously true. So maybe there is a naysayer in the family, like one person who always, like that one person, I think, like there might be one person in your family who's always questioning whether people are actually just lying, or they just act as if they are exhausted, or oh, they are just being dramatic, or oh, they are just coughing, like they are making themselves cough. Like they don't actually have a cough, they just want attention. Like that kind of person. There might be one of those in your family. I think there are those types of people in every family. Like there's at least one of those. So it's not uncommon at all. So, but don't take it personally, because well, everybody has to like deal with that kind of person sooner or later, once in their life. Like that's just but with the Fool here, I am sensing that for some of you, there might be some people might be talking about your pregnancy, like if I don't think the majority of you are pregnant. I don't think so. I think it's, but I think that some family members might be talking about how you should be pregnant, or like if you don't have any children, there might be some talk about that you need to have children soon because the clock is ticking or something, yeah, so there's some maybe there might even be rumors that you are pregnant even if you're not. So yeah. So there might also, like, if some of you have children, there might be some talk about your, like, this is a specific message for a few of you, I know. So if it doesn't resonate, then just close your ears, like, for this. But if you have children, I think there might be some gossip or some talk in your family about your parenting, that you're, because you can see, like, the Fool is always, like, the Fool is often interpreted as like something that has to do with children or birth, but as you can see in this card, there's like this dog here is actually like biting the thigh of this cat, and so in this context, I would kind of interpret that as like that there might be some family member, a family member in your family, of course, that might see you as a bit of a pushover as a parent, like that you allow your children to do too much, or that you don't discipline them enough, or that you're just allowing them to bite you and there's no consequences or something like that. But it's a specific message for one of you, or so if that's your message. And yeah, of course there's like, when you become a parent, there will always be people having different opinions about your parenting, and you can't really win. Like, either you're too strict or you're too loose, or like you don't. Yeah, so it's, yeah, you can't really win with people. So, but yeah. So also, like, yeah, I'm gonna want some more cards about what your family talks about when it comes to you, what they say about you. Group number 1. Two of Wands. So if some of you are in a relationship, there might be some rumors about how you want to get out of the relationship. that you're not happy in the relationship, but that's a specific message for a few of you. For others of you, I think it might be something else you're unhappy about, that some kind of, maybe you're also a bit tired of the family in general. Maybe you've kind of withdrawn from the family recently because you didn't want the drama, or you felt like you didn't really have the time or the energy to deal with the family. So you might have withdrawn a bit from the family, and I think the family might be talking about that as, but not in, actually not in a negative way. It could have been worse. When one family member withdraws from the rest of the family tend to put the person who leaves down and say that, oh, there's something wrong with them mentally, that they are depressed, or that they are whatever, that there's something wrong. But in this case, I actually feel like your family is more like, they feel like you think you're too good for them. And so that is also negative, of course. That's not a good thing, but like, they don't see anything wrong with you leaving, like something mentally wrong with you, but they see you as a bit arrogant for leaving, because, or for withdrawing, that you would rather be with other people, or that you prefer other people over them, or that also that, like, there might, again, it might be that one family member that you have that is like constantly questioning everything. That family member might be saying that that you just choose who's more convenient to you in the moment. Like, if your family is not convenient to you at the moment, then you withdraw that and choose other people who are more convenient to you. And so she, I feel like it's a she, I don't know, but she might feel like you're seeing the family as more trouble than it's worth, and so you don't want to build it up, like, and also that you might be tearing it down instead of building it up. But this is more of a message for some of you. It's a bit negative, but I feel like it's not for all of you. So I don't want all of you to think, oh, your family thinks this way, because it's just for a few of you. But and I think those of you where this resonates, you know that it resonates, because it's you've seen it happen to other family members maybe, and so you know that the family has a tendency to look at people this way. But I feel like some family members see you as someone who is just criticizing the family, but not, and a bit wallowing in the past, like something that happened years ago. Instead of building up something positive, you keep bringing up the negative that happened in the past or something. But I think everybody does that. I think it's a usual thing that most people do. So it's, I think your family might see it as unusual behavior, but I don't think it actually is. But maybe it is. I don't know. but I think it's sometimes it's good to bring up things from the past, because certain things might not have been processed, and so there might be something that happened in the past, some kind of family trauma that you want to talk about, but the rest of the family is kind of like they don't want to talk about it. They want to move forward. They don't want to wallow in the past, but you feel like it's not processed. It's not like you won't ever get rid of it if you don't process it, and that's also healthy. But maybe your family is just not ready for it. Like they might not be emotionally stable enough to actually talk about this. So it's more like that. You might have seen a therapist recently or a few years ago, and I feel like the family kind of looked at you differently after that, because they felt like, oh, now you're going through like all the family stuff in therapy and talking about us in therapy, and now you just know everything. Like now you're a know-it-all because you've been to therapy, and now you have figured it all out, and all of that. Like, so I don't know, but like I think you have actually made some good breakthroughs, like had some realizations and unveiled some things from the past that needed to be unveiled, and so it's not a bad thing. But of course, your family might want to put that veil back on. Like they don't want all the trauma to bubble up to the surface. Like they want it kind of buried underneath, and so I don't know. But like as I said in the beginning that there's not a lot of negativity here, and even though, well, it sounds very negative when I say all these things, but I actually kind of stand by the first impression that I got, that I don't actually think your family is talking shit about you behind your back. But like I think your family genuinely like you. Like they like you, and you're a very likable person, and it's very hard to be mad at you, because you make a good point, and I feel like that's also a thing where like your family members, they know that what you say is correct. It's the truth. It's so you're right. Like when you criticize something about the family, they know that you're right. Like they know that it's like it's you're not wrong about it. It's but they still feel like they don't want to talk about it, and they know you're very like you're very honest and genuine, and you're very sharp, and you see through the like you're capable of seeing past all the bullshit and like get right to the core of a problem, and seeing the problem quite clearly. And I think your family admires you for that quality, like for being able to do that. but it's also hard for them because they are constantly, like when they talk to you, they are constantly reminded that they have flaws, and maybe they are actually not that comfortable with admitting that they have flaws and that they are flawed, and that there's like, I feel like some of your family members, they like to keep this idea in their head that the family is perfect as it is, and that you're all perfect. And so when you criticize something about the family, it kind of doesn't it resonates with them on a deeper level, but like on a surface level, they don't really want to admit it. Like they want to keep the fairy tale fantasy thing going. That the maybe some of them are also in denial about this, and so they don't want to be faced with the problems of the family all the time, or the problematic behavior of some family members. Maybe you have criticized one of the family members a few times to other family members. Like there might be some family member, maybe that family member that I was talking about before, the one that questions everything and is kind of a bit toxic in a way. You might have criticized her, and the others were like, yeah, that's true. Like they agreed with you on the criticism. They knew that she was that way, and that's spot on. But and all of that. But but they also really like that person. Like there's some kind of ambivalence here, like where I think there might be a person in your family who's very toxic and like likes to criticize and question everything, and of course you like to criticize too, but you're not like in the same category, because this person is more like questioning whether people are actually sick when they say they are sick and stuff like that, and being toxic in that way. And everybody in the family seem to know that she does that, and that it's kind of toxic and not really that charming. But she has other charming qualities that make them like her, and so they kind of want to defend her. Maybe she's very funny or something, I don't know, like maybe she's very charming or funny or charismatic or something, and so they kind of want to defend her, and so yeah, I think you there might be some ambivalence in the family about that, I guess. And so when you go against the family, like when you criticize some behavior in the family, I think you kind of are met with a wall. Like people become very defensive, and they put you a bit on the outside, or maybe you put yourself on the outside because you pose a bit of a threat to them, but they like you because you're very likable, but they also see you as a bit dangerous because you question the status quo, and like don't question it, you challenge it. You challenge the status quo. You like to wreak havoc in some kind of way. A bit like Jesus, I guess. Like if I have to find a positive way of looking at it, like Jesus, of course, he questioned and challenged and all of that, like he whatever. But that's a whole other story. I think it's healthy to challenge people when they are very stubborn in their ways or very stubborn in believing something, especially when you know it's a bit when it's there might be some kind of belief in your family as well, like maybe your family is like some family members are quite religious or conservative or have some kind of belief system that might be very structural and strict and hard to break through to, and like maybe you've challenged it in some way and like asked them like what why they believe this and that, and maybe they don't like to have you questioning that, or I don't know, but I'm still feeling like there is still a loving concern, like with your well-being. Like people talk about you in a caring way. Like there is a they see you as a threat, but they also want to help you or want to care for you, but they have there's still a distance here. I don't know if some of your family members like live far away or something, but like there's a distance here. Maybe it's physical distance, like geographical distance, but it could also be just distance, like emotional distance, not feeling like they can get through to you emotionally, maybe because you have a wall. And that kind of makes sense with what I said in the beginning, that you might not be very verbal about your pain. So maybe you don't like to talk about your weaknesses. Maybe you don't like to talk about your pain and how you're actually feeling. And maybe that also makes some of your family members feel like they can't get through to you because you're too closed off. But they are also closed off. And so maybe it's kind of like that's actually quite typical. Like I think all of your family members are closed off, and I think you are too. And I think everybody is kind of annoyed that the other one is closed off, but they don't realize that they are closed off too. And so it's maybe you're not really that different from the others. And so I don't know. With the 9 of Cups, I think some of your family members might see you as someone who's a bit who's very content with being alone. So some of you might be single and might actually be okay with that. But also some of you might isolate yourself a bit and be okay with that too. But there could also be something about you being very content with the way things are in your life. Like you might have a job, and some family members might feel like it's not the right job for you, but you kind of want to keep the job because you're not unhappy with it. You're kind of content with it. Like you don't need the change. Like you feel like it's okay what you're doing. Like you have no problem with it. So it's just your family members who have problems with it. So and that it's not all of your family members. It might just be one who feels like you're doing the wrong thing, that you should be on a different path or something. But but still it feels like people might be talking about how you are too content with maybe the status quo, and maybe that's also like a family tradition that they all have. Like they all enjoy the status quo. They don't like change. None of your family members seem to like change. Like, so they don't like you to challenge certain things about the family because they like the status quo. They like things to just be the way they are, and they don't want anything changing. Like they want. So when you criticize some behavior, they don't like that, because then that kind of has to cause some change in behavior, and they don't like that because they like things to just stay the way they are. And so and I feel like they see you as someone who's like that too, but more in terms of your career, I think, or in terms of your relationship. If you're in a relationship, it could also be that you're just content with the partner that you're with, or that you've settled for someone, or that you've settled for a job, and that your family feels like you shouldn't settle, that you should actually maybe challenge yourself and do something that's more challenging for you. Maybe you're doing something that's too simple in a way, and then maybe they see you as very smart and capable of actually doing something that's harder. But I think, yeah, I think you're yeah, I think they talk about how you're content with your achievements, which I think they see as a positive thing and a negative thing. Like, it's a bit like some of your family members see it as a positive thing, and other family members see it as a negative thing. So it's kind of it splits it splits people like in two groups, where one has one opinion and the other has the other. But I'm also this card also makes me think of a hoarder. So maybe there's also a bit of gossip in the family, or rumors going on that you have a hoarding problem, that you are hoarding things, or that you are collecting things in a bit of a manic way, or something like that. I don't think that's true, and I also don't know what's so bad about being a collector. Like, it's just a hobby that some people have. So why do some people want to look down upon that when it's not hurting anyone? And so I feel like it's also like it's a cheap hobby. Like, you might collect something, but it's not like something expensive. Like, it's not like you're collecting like some like people collect very expensive stuff, like limited edition things or something. But I think like you collect something that's actually not that expensive, and so it's really not that big of a deal. Like, it might be stones or something. It might not even be gemstones, like just stones that you find like when you're out walking or something, and you find a stone that you feel is very pretty or something, and you pick it up and take it with you home. Like, it's more like that sort of thing I'm sensing. And like, if that's a problem for your family, I feel like your family might be a bit narrow-minded and a bit like looking for a problem. And I feel like that's also a thing in your family. Like, people seem to be looking for problems or looking for flaws, and you might actually have that too. Sorry if I'm being, but I have it too. I think most people do. Like, it's like, I think people like we have a tendency to be a bit critical of others, and like so we notice certain patterns that people keep repeating, and we see a problem in it. Or we want to figure out if there's an explanation, and sometimes we want to find a psychological explanation, and that is kind of toxic, I guess, but I don't know. But yeah, but overall, like, it's not super negative. I just think like the family would want you to be more maybe a bit more of a team player when it comes to family things. Like you might be a bit withdrawn from the family and isolate yourself a bit from the family. And I think your family would want you to be more open to participating without being the outsider criticizing. And that, like, maybe you've always been a bit of an outsider in your family. And so, of course, as the outsider, we tend to look at things from the outside. And when you look at things from the outside, it becomes very obvious that there are something wrong, that things are not ideal, because we are not stuck in the eye of the hurricane, like or the eye of the storm. When people are inside the family and haven't taken a step outside of the family ever, then they tend to see nothing wrong with the family, because you can't see the storm when you're in the eye of the storm. You can't see that it's like what it's causing, like how it's actually ruining everything on its way, and like you can't see that because you're inside, and it's actually the weather is fine and everything is actually dandy, and like, you know, so yeah, I think some of your family members might be a bit indoctrinated into the family, where they have been brainwashed a bit to believe that everything is perfect, that the family is perfect, there's nothing wrong with the family. And it could have been like a grandparent of yours, or a great grandparent who seemed to have a lot of pride in the family, and believed that every family member was unique and special in their own way, and that everything was just like everybody was like, yeah, it's just pride, I think. Like there might have been some family pride, and some family members might still have that inherited pride in the family, believing that the family is superior or extraordinary in some kind of way. And when you, maybe because you've been an outsider or something, when you go in and say like, oh, but it's not really that perfect, like everybody's kind of being quite toxic and not really behaving in an ideal way, when you say that, then they will not like that, because they are in the eye of the storm, they don't see it, they don't see any problems with the family, and so it's hard for them when they haven't taken that step outside the family. And if that makes sense. But and I feel like with the Eight of Swords, it's also like they see you as like you're making up problems, that you're that the problems didn't really exist until you pointed them out, and so it's kind of your fault for pointing them out, because now they are actually quite obvious to the other family members, but they didn't want that. They wanted to be in the ignorance of not knowing, and then you pointed it out, and now they know, and they can't unknow what they now know, and so they put the blame on you for doing that, I guess. but yeah, but it's like still it's not the worst. Like even though they might talk about it this way, it's like it's not. No one is actually like. It's not really that bad because like no one is talking about you in a very bad way. Like it's not a very negative way that they talk about you. Like it's more what you it's more the threat that you are to them in a way, but like it's not personal. Like personally, every family member actually likes you. Like they like your personality. They think you're a joyful like person to talk to. Like they get joy from talking to you because you are very genuine and honest, and also very easy to talk to. I think like you say things as they are. Like you're not sugarcoating anything. You're just speaking your truth, and they admire you for it, but they don't like it. Like they want you to be like the rest of the family, faking it and lying about the family and keeping this family lie going, like keeping this fantasy going that the family is perfect, and so you have to like participate in that in order for the family to actually like they like you, but they kind of feel like they don't really want you to have too much power over the family. I don't think you're the type of person who would want that, but they feel like you're just threatening this perfect fantasy that they have of the family. But besides that, they actually seem to care about you, and they care about your health, and they are concerned, and they are concerned with you doing too much, being a bit of an octopus, like stretching yourself out on too broad of a field or wide of a field. Like I don't know, but it might be relating to your job, and maybe that's why some of your family members want you to have another job, because maybe the job that you have is a bit stressful and a bit physically demanding of you, and maybe if you went to school or went back to school or got some kind of other education so that you could do some other job that wasn't so physically demanding, they kind of want you to do that or something like that. I don't know. But of course it's you should just do whatever you want. So don't listen to them. But yeah. So, but I think also with the Fool, like you might say things a bit too honestly. Like you might be too honest sometimes. You might not really think before you speak sometimes. Like, or maybe you do, but they kind of don't think you do, because they feel like you're not really thinking about the consequences of what you say. Like if you say something negative about the family, or if you are open about your feelings about the family, or if you like open up about something that happened to you, or something that another family member did to you, if you open up about that, then the family might feel like you haven't thought it through. That if you had thought it through, you would have known that you shouldn't talk about things like that. That you should keep that a secret, because that's a family tradition, is to keep everything secret. Like if there's something someone does to you that like harmed you in any way, you should just sit on it, keep it a secret, not talk about it to other family members or to anyone. And so if you've been open and honest about something, then people see that or your family members might see that as you not really thinking things through. That yeah, I don't know. It could have been something serious for a few of you. Maybe you talked about something that had to do with some because of the Nine of Cups. If you look at this cat here, this cat is actually kind of flashing you. It's kind of putting its genitals on display, and you might have talked about something regarding some sexual behavior or inappropriate sexual behavior, or something that a family member might have done to you or someone else in the family. Like maybe you talked about something that happened where someone might have been a bit inappropriate and it could have been interpreted in a sexual way, or maybe it was just like it's not an interpretation, just facts. But the family felt like that's like nothing. That's something you should have swooped under the rug. Like that's not something you should openly talk about. Which is unfair that your family feels that way, because I think it's healthy. It's a good sign that you can that you've felt like you could actually talk about these things in an open way, because how are things like that ever going to be resolved is if people just swoop it under the rug? Like you need a person who's courageous enough to actually open up a discussion about it. So it's but yeah, I think like the family knows, and the family also knows that maybe they didn't react, and maybe that's also one of the things that they have a problem with, is that some family members might know that they didn't react to it, and that they didn't react in the right way, or that they diminished it or made it seem less than it actually was, and that they are actually that they are to blame in a way, or that they could have changed things, or they could have made things better if they had done this and this and this. And so they feel, I think they know, but they don't want to admit it. So they don't want to talk about it, because talking about it requires them to actually admit that they made a mistake back then, and they don't want to admit that, and so they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to be forced to admit anything like that. They feel like that's a bit of an assault in a way, like on them, that when people force them to feel bad about what they did or what they didn't do, like they feel like that's overstepping their boundaries and making them remember or something bad, or that they feel like they have to accept the blame, and they don't want to do that, and so it's I don't know. But it's a bit complicated. It's but overall, like, I don't see any personal attack on you or on your character. It seems that your family actually likes you personally as a person, but they just don't like what you represent sometimes, like because you represent some challenge to the status quo, and they don't like that. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you, group number 1. I hope this reading resonated with you, and if it did, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope you'll watch my next video as well. And have a very nice day, and bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose the Hermetic Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2, what's group number 2's family saying about them behind their back? What is group number 2's family saying about group number 2 behind their back? I think your family is kind of like they're so okay. You seem to be a very unique person, and so of course being unique will always cause people to have different opinions. It's the downside of being very unique, but of course there are a lot of upsides to it too. It seems that your family, they know that like you're a very very unique, but also very extraordinary in your own way, and there's something about you. You have that it factor, like you have some kind of X factor or whatever. Like you have something. There's something about you where you have a star quality, or you're just you draw attention to yourself, but it's not like you're an attention seeker, like you're not seeking attention. You just draw attention to yourself because of the way you are, your charisma, your you have you shine in a way where people just notice you right away, and you also might have a way, like when you communicate, you might communicate in a way that's very captivating. Like you might also talk in a way that's or speak in a way that's very like you might have a very, very broad vocabulary. Like you use a lot of different words, and a lot of like maybe also a bit unusual words. Like maybe you were like a bit of a geek as a child, and so maybe you've read the dictionary a few times, like from front to back, all the way through, and things like that. And so you have a very very impressive and expressionistic vocabulary, and it might make you a bit eccentric, or seem a bit eccentric, to the point where where of course when you're an extraordinary person, people talk, and people like to people get maybe a bit jealous, or a bit like they like to talk. People like to talk, and I think people might have diagnosed you, like your family members. Some of your family members might have diagnosed you with a personality disorder. Sorry, I hate to say that, but it's could be histrionic personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder, but I'm more feeling like it's histrionic because of the that it's a cluster B personality disorder. It's the eccentric, the dramatic. Maybe you are also like a bit like dramatic, not in a dramatic way, but like you like, maybe you really like drama in school, and you went to drama classes and enjoyed rhetoric and stuff like that. How to express yourself, how to captivate people, and how to captivate an audience, stuff like that. Stuff like that might have interested you a lot from a very early age, like a very young age, like and you might have always been told that you should become an actor, or you should become like something like that, or a singer, or something where you should be in front of an audience because you have a presence that's very captivating and very interesting, fascinating to witness from an audience perspective, looking at you on a stage. I don't know if this resonates with all of you, but I'm just sensing that for many of you, this is probably something that your family has been talking about since you were a child, that you were very charismatic even as a child, very funny, very charming, very likable, and now, like, all of a sudden it's kind of a problem. And that's so typical. Like now, oh, she has histrionic personality disorder. Like that's just what, like when you were young, it was cute to have, but now you're just an attention-seeking person, or you're just you just want to be the center of attention because you have a personality disorder that makes you have some kind of need to be the center of attention, even though I don't think you actually have a need, and I don't actually think you're seeking attention. I think sometimes I think you might even want to like blend into the background and not be the center of attention, but you just seem to accidentally become the center of attention because you're very, I guess, charismatic, like and eccentric, and but yeah. So yeah, I think your family might have diagnosed you, like some family members. I think it's distant, like some kind of distant family members, or I call it that because. But maybe an aunt or an uncle or something a bit more like that. I think they might talk about how you might have a personality disorder, like histrionic personality disorder, or narcissistic, or borderline, or something like that. And I don't think it's true. But of course you can't, like with personality disorders, you can't argue with that. Like it's like you can always checkmate a person by saying that they have a personality disorder. Because a person cannot defend themselves. If you tell them that they have a personality disorder, they can't defend themselves, because like one of the main signs of like having a personality disorder is that the person with a personality disorder doesn't believe they have a personality disorder. And so when your family members, like you might have actually, some of you might have actually been confronted with this before, from a family member who said to you that you have histrionic personality disorder, or or borderline personality disorder or something, and you said like no, that you don't think so, and they said, oh yeah, but that's like that's you would, that's a sign, that's a symptom of having a personality disorder, is not believing you have one. And so checkmate, like it's so yeah, but I don't know if this resonates with all of you or just a few of you, but it just came through quite strongly, and so I wanted to say, but I think like I don't actually think there's anything wrong with you. Like if I have to go with my intuition on this one, I don't think you have a personality disorder. I think your family is just like, some of your family members, they just might be a bit like they don't really know you. I feel like they don't know you, and they don't know that you're actually not seeking attention, that you're actually a very mellow person. Like you're not actually trying to be dramatic or trying to cause any drama. You just end up in it somehow. Like and it can also be because of the family. Like the family might piss you off, and then you react to it, and then they say, oh yeah, typical you, causing drama. Like, and it didn't cause any drama, you just reacted to their bloody drama, and then you ended up being the one to blame for it, and took and I don't know, but so yeah, I feel like many of your family members, like they like to point fingers at others, but they never look at themselves. Like they never look inwards. Like they don't see how their actions are causing reactions, and so they are the one actually starting fights with people, but or conflicts or whatever, but they don't seem to see that because they don't really seem to have a good objective view of themselves from an outside perspective. Like they I also feel like maybe they also have like some narcissistic personality disorder, or antisocial personality disorder, or something where they feel like I feel like some of your family members, they don't seem to have a lot of empathy, and they don't seem to have the capability to put themselves in other people's shoes, and they don't seem to be capable of seeing things from other people's perspective, and they don't see that they are wrong when they are wrong. Like they don't see, like they see themselves as always being right about everything, and so that's a horrible combination, I think, but I think it's a very typical one. And I think I also have a slight hint of that combination myself, and like I tend to always think I'm right even when I'm wrong, and it's a hard thing, like sometimes, but with the Two of Cups, I think your family, your family might be talking about something that happened years ago, and it doesn't have anything to do with you personally, because I think it might have been before you were born, or even like when you were like 3 or 4 or 5 years old. So it's something you don't really remember, but you've been told about it a lot of times, and I think it might have something to do with one of your parents. And I think one of your parents, possibly your mother, was diagnosed by the family to be have borderline personality disorder, or histrionic, or narcissistic, or something like that. Antisocial, maybe even, like, I don't know, but like I think they kind of ganged up on your mom or your dad or someone in your near family and said that there was that they had a personality disorder, and so maybe like you don't have one, but because you're closely related to your mother, of course, then you by default should have it because of genetics or something. That's the logic of the family, is that okay, your mother had it and you're the daughter of your mother, and so you are probably also have a personality disorder. But it could also be borderline, bipolar. It could, if it's not a personality disorder, it could be another disorder, like borderline. I keep saying borderline, so maybe bipolar is not right. So I don't know, but it was just a thought. Maybe for a very few of you, this could have to do with some other mental illness that's not a personality disorder, but for most of you, I feel like it's just a personality. I feel like it's a personality disorder. That, like, I feel like this is just keeps being repeated. Like it's so yeah, but like it's like because one of your parents had mental health issues, then I think the family, your aunts and uncles and cousins or whatever, they believe that you have it too because you've inherited it from your parent or your parents or whatever. But I don't think that's the case. I think you're just a very unique, eccentric, a bit eccentric, but not in a mentally ill way, but just in a very charismatic way. Like I think like you might be a creative, a sensitive person, and of course that can be interpreted as dramatic to some people. Like if you're a sensitive person and you're reacting to people saying negative things to you, then some people might misinterpret that as you being dramatic or making a scene or something like that, even though you're just reacting to something you didn't like because you're sensitive. And there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. There's nothing wrong with reacting emotionally to people hurting you, and it's actually a healthy way of like that. That's a good thing to be able to react emotionally when it's appropriate. And I think you do it when it's appropriate, but the rest of the family might not be good at doing it appropriately. They might have a problem doing that. Like I think your family, some of your family members they react emotionally, but not in the appropriate time where it's going on. Like they don't react. Like I feel like some family members, they don't react in the moment. Like if someone hurts them, they say nothing, and then they are passive aggressive about it for months, and then they explode at some point. and like that's their way of reacting, and that's causing drama. Like that's what causes drama to escalate, is when you collect hurt over time and then explode suddenly, seemingly out of nowhere. But I don't think you do that. I think you are actually kind of capable of reacting appropriately to people hurting you in the moment when they hurt you, and it might be pissing your family off that you are actually capable of doing what they are not capable of doing themselves, and maybe that's the reason why they want to like diagnose you and tell you that there's something wrong with you because you're able to do that, instead of looking inwards and seeing that there's actually something wrong with them for doing it a whole different way, and that the other way is maybe a bit more toxic, or a bit more, not toxic, but a bit more dramatic, actually. Like, it might seem dramatic when someone calls you an idiot and you say to them that you don't like to be called an idiot, and that's not a very nice thing to say. Like, that some people will interpret that as you being dramatic and overreacting, but it's a lot worse if you if you don't react and passive aggressively hate the person for months and months and months because of that one thing they said to you, like calling you an idiot, and then like bringing it up like months later in another argument about something completely different. Like, it's but yeah, 10 of Pentacles reversed. So I think you might be a bit tired of the family. I get it. I understand. Like, this seems a bit tiring. Like, it seems a bit like it could be a bit more trouble than it's worth. Yeah. And I think your family might have picked up on that you're a bit you're tired of the bullshit. Like, you don't want to waste any more energy by trying to please these people. And maybe you did that in the past, like you wanted to please them a lot, so you tried to be on your best behavior, you tried to put a smile on your face, and you tried to laugh and make jokes and make them like you and be charismatic and charming as you are. But you might have tried very hard before to win them over, because you might have wanted their approval before. Like, even though they are all maniacs, crazy people who, like, kind of, yeah, but they somehow, I'm sensing that there is a bit of ambivalence in your opinion of them. Like, you know they are kind of crazy, but you still kind of feel like there's something about them that's kind of like cool or something. Like, I don't know, it's like you want their approval, like you want to be in the gang, or like you want to be a part of the circle in a way, or but so you want to be a part of it, but you also know that it's kind of like not the best club to be a part of, because it's a kind of a toxic one. But you or this might have been how you were before. Like, you wanted their approval, you wanted them to like you, you wanted their acceptance really badly. But then I think maybe recently you just thought, like, fuck that. You don't care. Why should you care? Like, And I think that kind of pissed them off, that you stopped trying to please them, or that you stopped making an effort into making them like you, or you just kind of might even have turned it around on them and said, like, you have to impress me. I don't always have to impress you. You also have to make an effort into making me like you. Like, I feel like that's kind of the thing that might have happened, that you kind of started to expect more from them, or expect them to actually do something, or be funny, or like, why should you always be the funny one? Like, they also have to be like, step it up and be more like, yeah. Maybe you also felt like maybe you were trying to be funny all the time before, and you were making, you were cracking jokes all the time, and like trying to be the life of the party in a way, or you were trying to, like, every time there was like awkward silence, you would try to fill it up with some kind of joke, or like every time there was any tension in the room, you tried to crack a joke, or make people laugh, or make people a bit more loose, or a bit more, I don't know. But I think you realized that maybe you heard some rumors that the family was actually talking about how you were talking too much, that you were being too much or something. And I think you just, like, after that, I think this might resonate with a few of you, but for those of you, I feel like you just thought, like, fuck that. Like, why? Like, now you've been like a delightful person and a godsend to these people, like, and help them through the awkwardness and the awkward silence, and then the tension, and like, you help them with all of that. And what you get in return is just them talking shit about you behind your back, and saying that you're too much, and too talkative, and too eccentric, and too, like, attention seeking, and too much. Like, so, like, you felt like you were doing them a favor, and they didn't really and yeah, they just didn't appreciate it. And so I think after that, I think you might have felt like, why make an effort? Like, then you can just be silent, just like the others, and be like, and not make an effort, and not be charming and likable, because that's attention-seeking behavior to them for some reason. Like, that's how they see it anyway. So why would you have to, like, why put that role on yourself when you are not getting credit for it? And I think after that, like, they, like, it's a kind of the situation where you're damned if you do, or and damned if you don't, and like, you, before they called you attention seeking and whatever, because you were talking and possibly just talking because you were trying to fill up a void or whatever, but now, like, now they feel like you're too, like, that you're too withdrawn from them, or that you don't like them, or that you're acting as if you're a bit too good for them, or something. I don't know. But I'll shuffle some more cards for you, group number 2. 9 of Cups reversed. So I feel like your family might be talking about that you have a that you have a codependent personality, or that you have a tendency to need other people in order, like, that you cling on to people, or that you are not good at being alone, or that you always need to fill up a void, I guess, like that you get bored with being alone, or maybe that you're an extrovert and so you thrive more when you're in the company of others, or maybe you're an introvert, but you could still be an introvert and still like to be around other people. So it's not like those things cancel each other out. But I think your family might talk about how you have like, and that kind of fits into the whole idea that you have histrionic personality disorder. It's kind of like they see it as proof, even though it's not. But that, oh yeah, you need to be the center of attention, and that's why you don't like to be alone, because when you're alone, you're not getting attention from someone else, or that you don't exist if someone else is not looking at you. Or it kind of doesn't make sense, but like I feel like it's said in a very negative tone, but it's like some family member of yours like is saying that you, for this might resonate for some of you, but like saying that that you that you need to, you have a need to always be seen, that you need approval from others all the time, or that you need validation, and if you don't get it, then it's like you don't have a personality, which is far away from the truth. It's just toxic people saying toxic shit, and it's not true. And but it's like I've heard this, like I think I heard it in a documentary about a psychopath, and someone was saying that like that if a psychopath is single and alone, they will have to like read books, or because they need to always be inspired by another person. Like they need people to tell to inspire them to know who they are, and so they read a book and they kind of resonate with the main character, and then they become that character or something. And I think it's bullshit. I don't think you have any kind of personality disorder. I think you're you're perfect as you are. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. But I think it's just like, for some reason, I feel like your family is like, especially aunts and uncles and cousins, or some more distant relatives, they have a negative view on your family as a whole, like, or your near family, like you and your siblings and your parents, like they see that core as problematic, like that there's something wrong with your parents, and so there's something wrong with you, and so they look at you with a microscope, trying to find something that's off about you, because they have a negative view on your family and your near family, like your like, yeah. So is it called nuclear family? Like I don't know. But yeah, I think it's nothing personal. It is personal. It's very personal. But it's like they have a view on you. Like they don't really know you. It doesn't seem like they really know who you are. Like really. Like they have an idea, and like also I feel like when you talk to them, like it seems in the moment that they actually like you, and you get that feeling too. Like I feel like you've had conversations with family members where you felt like, oh, that went really well. And then a few days or a few weeks later, you hear some rumors from other family members saying that that talk went horribly, that it, like, and you keep thinking back at it and think like, well, no, it didn't go horribly. There was nothing wrong with that talk. Like it went smoothly and there was no tension or no nothing. But somehow, like, this family has your family has a tendency to like put a spin on something, and like somehow like it started out like the rumors go, like it starts out as like one thing and then it just evolves into something completely different, and like you have no control over it. Like you can have a very good like conversation with someone, and then like a few weeks later everybody will talk about it as the worst conversation in the world, and like but it's more like it's not the truth. The truth is what happened in the conversation and the feeling you had, and I think you have a good intuition, so you know if things are going like they are trying to gaslight you and make you believe that you're crazy, and believe that you were just naive for believing that it actually went well, and it's not the truth. I think you have the right memory of it, like you remember it correctly. It's just that the memory has taken a life of its own in other people who wasn't even there to begin with. So it's not their memory. So of course they don't remember it correctly because they weren't there. And so they've just changed it up and made it and believed in different stories. And like one story ends up being something completely different. Like it's just that kind of feeling I get, and so like you don't have any control over it. Like I feel like you don't actually have any control over your own narrative in this family. Like so maybe you should actually just throw in the towel, because I feel like if you try to actually make a good impression on the family, they will always change it up anyways. So what's the point in it? Like you can make a great impression and it will magically turn into a bad one over time by just going mouth to mouth between people, and like it will just wander, take a life of its own and become something completely different. There might be a pathological liar in the family that's very toxic or harmful, like someone you probably shouldn't talk to that much, because but in a way you can't really escape this, because even if you try to keep your distance from this person, you can't actually stop her or him from manufacturing lies about you. So it's but if you don't interact with this person that much, then it will be obvious to others that okay, but that she can't know all these things if you're not in the same room, and if you're not in contact, then people won't really believe in her lies, because like she will have to be in contact with you in order to keep new lies from or to keep new lies coming. Like she can't so maybe kind of be watchful. So Four of Wands. So I think there is a sort of like the family does seem to appreciate certain things that you do for the family. Like when you do things for them, they like you. When you stop doing things, they stop liking you. This is not a good dynamic, of course, but I feel like when you throw parties or when you host parties, when you make an effort, contact people, call people up, and make arrangement to meet with the family members and stuff like that. When you do that, then you're in the circle. But this is how you get into the circle, is to do that. But if you stop doing that, then you get pushed out of the circle, which is not a good thing. Like I feel like if you didn't call your family members, they would forget about you, and it's possibly because all of your family members might have some mild form of ADD, and so like I feel like there is a chaotic energy in your family, like in general, but I feel like they don't make they wouldn't call you if you didn't call them, and it's mostly because when you don't call them, you stop existing in their mind. And it's not necessarily personal, but it's kind of personal, like, but it's not like. But like I feel like there is a pressure on you to always make the effort, and you could just stop doing that. But of course, if you stop doing that, the family will start seeing you as the outsider and that you are too good for them or whatever. But it's actually just you who's stopped doing what they are not capable of doing themselves. Like they can't contact you, they can't host parties, or they can't like they seem to want you to do that for them. And when you do that, like also you might be the type of person who offers help, like you offer people help, and they like that, but it's like they like it when you are an asset to them, like when you are helping, when you're actually making when you have a purpose. But when you stop having a purpose, it seems like they don't really see the point in actually engaging with you. And it's kind of, I hate saying that because it's horrible, but it's more like they seem to be too caught up in their own little world, and so they don't see the, like I feel like many of your family members, they don't actually see what a virtue it is to actually network or have relations to the family. Like they see it as like not a priority to them, and so they like it when it's there, but it's not like they would want to make a special effort into making that happen. Like I don't know. But yeah, so when you do that, when you do things for the family, they value you a lot, and they see you, and they but they also feel like some family member, like one family member might have even talked about how you're doing it to get attention, that you're just offering help and hosting parties and contacting people, calling people just because you want attention from them. but that's not the truth. It's just normal, natural behavior that everybody does, and so it's not like it's not a strange thing to want to have contact with your family. It's not. It doesn't make you a maniac to want some kind of relationship with a family member. But okay, so. But it's just like this. I don't know. Of course, none of these people seem to be able to look inwards, so they will never really know that they are the ones who are off in this. That they are the ones who might have all the personality disorders like that they have. Like, and but yeah, like. I don't know. But I think that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading didn't bomb you out. I hope it was okay. Like, it was, of course, a bit... Like, it's not the best to hear, but I still feel like if I should, like, say a positive thing, like, they do seem... to see you as a very unique and extraordinary person, but they also seem to focus on the downside that you're an eccentric and attention-seeking type of person. But they also see you as charismatic and charming. But everything has a downside, or at least for some people. But it like remember that actually they see you as extraordinary. They see you as someone who has star quality, and that you could actually get far in the entertainment business if you wanted to, and so they see you as a creative, but of course a creative in their mind is equals to sensitive. Like they see that as kind of intertwined in one thing. Like being a creative is also, then you are also hypersensitive or very sensitive, and so but still they seem to know you're a creative person. And also I think there was something in the beginning of the way about the way you dress. I think the people in your family actually admire you for daring to dress in an atypical way. Like you take chances and like you're not afraid of wearing something, even if it's not like the conservative. Like you take chances with your outfits, and you have a good way of putting together outfits that make you look very unique in a good way. But of course that can also have a negative spin, because that's also attention-seeking behavior and whatever. But everything can be, like everything we do. Like if you write a book, that is attention-seeking behavior. If you paint a painting, that's attention-seeking behavior. Like everything can be considered attention-seeking behavior if you want to spin it that way. Like it's so. But yeah, that's all I have for you, group number 2. I hope this reading was helpful, and I hope, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. Even if it wasn't helpful, then just subscribe to my channel, because I'll be posting videos more regularly in the future, I hope. So keep posted, and I don't have a very good day, and I hope you'll watch my next video, and bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose the Cook's tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. Group number 3. So group number 3. The people who will choose group number 3. What's group number 3's family saying about group number 3 behind their back? what's group number 3's family saying about group number 3 behind their back. I am sensing a tragedy, like there might have been a tragedy in your life or in the family maybe, but something tragic happened to you. And I think people in the family are talking about it. They might have a hard time talking about it to you directly to your face. And I feel like you might, like for some of you, this is something that happened to you personally. And so it's not a family tragedy. For others of you, it might be a family tragedy. But I think it's, like for the majority, it's something that happened to you in your life. And I feel like it's something you're not ready to talk about. And so you might have confided in one person in the family about this. But the family talks. So I feel like you said to that one person that they should keep it to themselves, but they didn't. So I feel like quite a few people in the family seem to already know, and I don't think you want them to, or maybe you do want. Some of you might want them to, and so it's not that big of a deal. But you would have wanted to tell them yourself. But I feel like it's. You might have wondered if people actually know. Like maybe you felt like people, like some of your family members knew, but you weren't certain because it was a secret, and so you weren't certain how many people actually had heard about it. And I feel like there are a few people who have heard about it. And so they can't talk to you about it directly to your face, and it's because it's a secret. So they don't want you to know that they know about it, and so they don't want to discuss it with you, because then you would know that they know and that someone told them that shouldn't have told them. And so I think it's more that they want to. I feel like some of your family members really want to talk to you about this because they are very sad about it and feel like they want to show you their compassion. And even offer help, but they feel like they can't really do that because they're not supposed to know about it. So yeah, but I feel like you seem some of family members, they talk about you as very strong. Like you seem very strong, like you, nothing takes you down. Like you seem to be very positive, even though something has happened in your life that was tragic. You seem to be of good spirits. Even though this has happened. But with a Knight of Pentacles reversed, some of you might have stopped working because of this, or stopped studying. Maybe you were studying, then you dropped out because of this tragedy that happened. And so I feel like some of your family members might be wondering about whether you dropped out or stopped working because of the tragedy, but they don't know because they can't ask you because they don't know that you know that they know now. And so they. I feel like they are asking each other, like your mother might or your dad might have been the one who leaked the information. Like one of your parents might have leaked the information to other family members. And so they are talking to your parents about it, but they are not talking directly to you about it. So they're like, the people are asking each other, like, why are you not working? Is it because of the tragedy or the thing that happened? Is that the reason, or is it something else? Because I think you might have said, because you didn't want to talk about it directly, you weren't ready for that discussion. So you might have talked about the fact that you dropped out of school or stopped working at your job or whatever. You might have talked to your family members about that, but you didn't tell them the real reason, because you didn't want to get into it, because you didn't want to talk about it, because you weren't ready. So you might have made up another reason that also was partially true, but just not the whole truth. So you might have said that it was because of Corona, the pandemic, or because of something else that happened, so that it was an outside thing that didn't have anything to do with this thing that happened to you. But I feel like they have been suspicious about whether that was true, or if it was actually because of your trauma, that you had a traumatic experience and that you're dealing with that, or I don't know. But I feel like they are talking about how you're not being very productive, but I feel like it might be some of the family members who actually don't know about this yet. I feel like some family members might not, like the information might not have leaked out to all family members. So there are still family members who are in the dark about this. So they don't know, and they just think that you lack motivation, or that you gave up because of the pandemic, or that you need someone to kick you in the butt so that you can start working or start studying again, or something, that you just need a push in the right direction, or something that you need some tough love or something, and they don't know that what's the real reason behind your decision to stop doing what you were doing before, and that it's not because of a lack of motivation, it's because of something deeper that they just don't know about. So with the Ace of Swords, I feel like there is a lack of communication, but within the family in general. I think the family, even though like this information leaked out to the other family members, it's like your family seem to like they are not really good at communicating directly to the person in question. Like they are more comfortable with asking your parents about your well-being than asking you directly. So there's also that thing. So even if you had been open about this from the beginning, I still feel like they would have been talking about you behind your back, because that's kind of what they're more comfortable with. Like they don't like discussing hard things with the person in question, like directly, because that's uncomfortable, and like they don't like talking about feelings maybe, and like they don't like dealing with hard things, like things that are difficult to talk about, like maybe some family members also lack the patience to do that. Like they would rather just get it from someone who's not emotionally involved with whatever, like so that they can get more of a quick version of it. Like it's a, I don't know. You might be a bit introverted as well, and so maybe they don't see you as someone they can talk to that easily because you're a bit shy. But I think it's more like they're, and maybe this might be your parents' fault as well, or one of your parents' fault, maybe your mom's, because I feel like some of you, like you might have had, like your mom might have always talked for you when you were younger, especially to your family. Like when you had family dinners with the rest of the family, like aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents and whatever, you would always have a family member ask you something like, how is it going in school or something, and they would ask you directly, but then your mother would answer for you, and so you never actually got to answer the question yourself. And so this is kind of given your family member the wrong impression about you, which is very unfair and really, really counterproductive, actually, because now I think your family members, they think that the reason why you never answered their questions, even when you were young, was because you were too shy, or that you relied on your mother to talk for you because you weren't capable of doing it yourself, even though you were very capable, but your mother was just a bit annoying and took the words out of your mouth before you could actually speak them. And so she stole it from you, like she took that from you. And maybe she also kind of did it out of selfish reasons, because like she wanted to be the center of attention in a way, or maybe she wanted to control the narrative, control your narrative. Like she might have felt like she had to impress her family members, so she couldn't just let you talk freely. Like she had to control the narrative. She had to kind of control what you said. Like maybe your mother is a bit controlling. Like so when a family member asked you about how school was going, your mother was quick to say, oh yeah, she gets like straight A's and everything is just amazing, and she's like gotten so good, like all teachers are talking about how amazing she is at this and this and this. And like that might have been a thing that your mom did, because your mom like might have secretly known that if you would have talked, then you would have been humble and said, oh yeah, I got an A, but like it was kind of not justified because I kind of sucked at it, but like they gave me an A because maybe like whatever. Like you might have downplayed yourself, and maybe your mother didn't really like that because she wanted to change, like she wanted to control the narrative and control the way that the family members perceived you. Like she wanted the family members to perceive you as this perfect straight A student, and she didn't want the humble approach that you used. And I don't know, but I feel like this thing that your mother did, where she would steal the words out of your mouth and actually make you not in control of your own narrative. When she did that, like she kind of made the other family members believe that you were too shy, or that you couldn't speak for yourself, and it was because you were incapable. And they still kind of see you that way, which is very, very sad. I'm very sorry for you that you have to deal with this, because it's hard. Like, that's hard. Like, that must be really hard for you to have family members believe that you're too shy to talk to. Like, even because I feel like, yeah, you might be an introvert, but you are quite capable of, like, you're completely capable of talking for yourself and speaking your truth, and if someone would ask you a question, you would answer it. Like, you don't need another person to answer for you, because you are an autonomous person, and you're actually quite, I feel like you're actually quite stubborn in actually wanting, and maybe this has happened more in your adulthood, that you've really been very stubborn in getting control over your own narrative, and being able to break free from your mother always telling people who you are, instead of you actually being able to tell people who you are yourself. Because this has made people believe that you're a different person than you actually are, and this fucks with identity, like feel the sense of identity, because you haven't been in control over your own identity, because your mother has determined it for you, or your father. I don't know who has, but I feel like someone else has been determining. This could also be a grandparent or someone close to you. Like, someone has been always determining who you are, and kind of told you and everyone else who you are, instead of asking you who you are. Like, that doesn't seem to have ever been in the equation, like a part of it. Like, I feel like the person who were telling everyone who you were actually didn't ask you before. Like, they didn't seem, they just, they didn't investigate you. Like, they didn't ask you, they didn't see you. Maybe they didn't actually see the real you. So the person that they were advocating on your behalf was not maybe in like it not actually any close to who you really felt like, as a, like, in inside. And maybe the humbleness, like, you might be a very humble person, and this could also be like a counter personality that you've created, like a rebellious, like a rebellion against your mother's perception of you. Like, your mother might have talked you up all the time, and talked said to everyone that you were amazing at everything, and just perfect at everything, and you rebelled against that by creating this humble persona. Not that it's necessarily a creation, but you might have gone into a bit of an extreme, where you really might downplay yourself a bit too much. Maybe you even made it into a bit of your, like, into your personality, and maybe also use it as your sense of humor, and like, maybe it's something you do, like you like to tell people that you're like, oh, you're nothing special, like you're a bad student, you don't read, you're not, what are you doing in the university if you can't actually read a book from the beginning to the end, like you're too, like, and you're a slacker, or you're not really that serious about anything, and you're like, it kind of ends up maybe being a bit maybe I don't think it's that extreme, but for some of you it might be, and maybe try to tone it a bit up, like find the middle ground in this, because like you went from one extreme to the other, and maybe you need to find the balance, equilibrium in some way, where now, like, yeah, you've rebelled against your mother's perfect perception of you, but maybe your mother actually had some of her, like some of you right, like maybe she was right about some aspects of you. Maybe you are actually quite extraordinary at certain things, and maybe even though it has been annoying that she has been forcing that out so much, like and trying to control the narrative and trying to make everyone believe that in that so cringely, like in such a cringy way, that it made you cringe as a child when your mother would constantly praise you in front of other people, because it kind of made you uncomfortable, and so you have escaped from the uncomfortable feeling that you had then. But maybe there's some truth to it. Like maybe there are just things that you are extraordinary at, and that's also fine. Like you don't have to be that humble all the time. And I don't know, but I feel like the thing is that like back to the family, the rest of the family, like talking about the family, that's the whole thing here. But feel like the family, not the nuclear family, not the close family, but the family outside, like the aunts and uncles, cousins, grandparents, and etc. etc. They see you as a very shy person, someone they can't talk to directly. So they talk to your mother. They ask your mother, how is she? And your mother, she keeps controlling the narrative and says, oh yeah, she's like whatever, but like she's great, but like she might not actually give them the truth, even though she might have leaked some information about this thing. But maybe she actually leaked it because it fit into her narrative, like, and that's also a thing that's kind of egotistical if you think about it. Like if something tragic happened to you, like if you were in an accident or something like that, and that caused you to drop out of school, then your mother might have wanted the rest of the family to know that, because then you're not a failure. Like you're not, oh, the kid who dropped out, then you're the kid who dropped out because of something tragic. And so in her mind, that's just a better story for you. And she would rather like that story for you. And that's also the right story. So it's not, but you kind of try to push another story where you just say it's because of the pandemic and it's because you didn't like whatever, and that to your mom might sound like you gave up, or that you couldn't handle the pandemic as well as other students could, or whatever, and that fucks up with her idea of you as this perfect person that she wants everyone to see as perfect. And like it's a whole thing. But with the apple here also being cut in the middle, I feel like the family might be cut in the middle in a way when it comes to what they talk about you. Like it seems as if half of your family might actually be in the dark about what actually happened to you, and the other half of the family, they have had information leaked to them. But there is a half that's also just in the dark, and they don't know what the fuck is going on, and they are very confused. I'm sensing that there are some family members that seem to be very confused, especially two. Like I don't know if there's like a couple in your family who's maybe gay, or like a gay couple or something like that. It might be specific for a few of you, but if there is a gay couple in your family, I feel like they are very confused. They don't know what the fuck is going on. Like no one is telling them anything, and they feel like no one is telling them anything. Like, and they keep saying that. I feel like they keep saying, no one ever tells them anything. Like they are always like kept out of all of the whatever. Like they and they talk about how they want to be engaged more, like they want to like they would want to have information leaked to them. Like why are all the other people getting the information leaked to them, and not why are they not a part of it? Like I don't know, but I don't know. It was just some a bit specific information for one of you or something. But I feel like I want to shuffle some more cards and see what more what does the family talk about you, group number 3. 8 of Cups. So I feel like some family members are talking about you kind of withdrawing, that you're isolating yourself a bit, or that you're not doing something right now, maybe because you stopped studying or stopped working or whatever. They feel like you're kind of I feel like for some, okay, so this is specific for one of you. I'm gonna say it because, but I know it's not gonna resonate with the majority of you. But just close your ears if it doesn't resonate. But I feel like for some of you, you might have actually, the tragic thing that happened might have actually happened to you at work or in school. And so I feel like the family members who actually know about what happened to you and who've had information leaked to them, they feel like it's unfair that you're the one who's dropping out. Like, you shouldn't be the one who should leave the school when the school was the one who should have protected you in the workplace should have been the one protecting you in the first place. And so that it was I feel like some of your family members feel like it was the school or your workplace's responsibility, and so you withdrawing from or giving up on your workplace or your school is not fair. That you shouldn't be the one leaving, or you shouldn't be the one taking a step back. It should be them who should be hold accountable or something. Also, if you've been losing money on it, like if you lost your job because of it, they feel like that's completely unfair, that you should be compensated for it, and that you should fight more for that compensation. But that's just specific information for a few of you. But for others of you, I feel like there are family members who feel like you might have given a bit up on what you were doing before. Like, you seemed to actually be quite motivated towards what you were doing before. Now it seems like you've lost the motivation, and some of your family members, they just don't know why, because they are in the dark. They don't know what happened, and so they just feel like that's confusing to them, that now all of a sudden you have lost interest in this one thing that has always interested you in the past. So why this sudden lack of interest or loss of interest? That just confuses them in a way. feel like they might have they feel like there is something, like they know something's going on. They know there's something that must have happened because you've suddenly changed your mind about something that you were very, very certain about before. So but I feel like people just want you to go back to what you were doing before, and they are just hoping that you're gonna go back to that, that you're gonna start it again, like whatever you stopped doing, that you will just restart it, and hoping that will happen, talking about it, hopefully talking about it, but also with a rock here, like this person is stepping on a rock, and that's also like I feel like some of your family members feel like especially those who might be in the dark about what happened. They feel like there's something you are swooping under the rock, something you're not willing to talk about. And it could also be those who actually know about it but feel like they've been patiently waiting for you to actually tell them for a long time, but they feel like you're actually never gonna do it because like maybe they feel like you're just maybe you have been talking about something similar, but in a way where you didn't actually say that it was your experience. Like you might have gone into some kind of political conversation with some family members that already know about your tragic accident or whatever happened. Like they already knew that you had experienced that, and so you had a conversation with them about politics and maybe about safety at work or safety in like some kind of whatever, and it might have been like a broad sort of conversation where you were talking about like general safety in the workplace, and they knew that you were biased, like you were talking about your experience, but you were talking about it indirectly, and they were hoping that you were actually gonna share it with them, but you didn't, and so they felt like, oh, you're never gonna share it. Oh, you're just gonna sit on it forever. And so it's but I feel like they are very pushy, and I feel like it's not their place. Like it's none of their business really. They should mind their own business. And like if you are not ready to talk about what happened to you, you shouldn't feel forced to do so. Like it's your call. It's your you have the power to control your own narrative. Like you can tell them when you're ready. Of course, your mom has kind of ruined that, but your mom kind of ruins a lot of things, and so like no offense, like your mom seems delightful generally, but I feel like she shouldn't have leaked that information to the rest of the family before you were ready to actually share it with them. I don't think that was the right call. I think she could have shut her mouth, but she didn't, and like I feel like it could have been your dad too, like, but so yeah, but yeah, I feel like it's up to you. You can tell people that you are comfortable with. If you're comfortable sharing what you experienced, then share it. But if you're not comfortable sharing it, don't share it. And so they just have to be more patient. Like they are not patient. And they should be more patient. Like they don't have to know everything. And they can't control what you say to them. And so they just need to kind of cope with that, and I feel like you have the power, use it wisely, keep them waiting. It's up to you. But all in all, I don't actually like this is still like this is the most positive pile of those who have like this group was more positive than the two other groups before, in the sense that I actually like, yeah, your family is talking about you, but it's actually not negative in any way. It's not like it's not personal. It's not like no one is actually talking shit about you. It's just that like some family members are a bit frustrated that they don't get information about you, and some family members have gotten information leaked from your mother and they haven't gotten it confirmed from you. Like they want to hear it from your mouth because they want to be able to talk to you about it, and they feel like they can't talk to you because you don't know that they know about it. And so it's but besides that, like it's actually just that they are actually quite curious to know what's going on in your life. They want to know about it and they care, and they also want to help you like that. Like they actually want to be able to support you, and they feel like they can't support you because they either don't have the information, or they have the information but shouldn't have the information to begin with. And so it's kind of weighing on their back that they have the information, but they can't tell you that they have it, because then you will know that your mother leaked it to them, and so then they would ruin your relationship with your mother, and they don't want to get in between you and your mother, which is actually a very nice thing. Like it's a very nice quality. Your family actually seem to, even though they don't seem to be that good at communicating, they still actually seem like good-hearted people. Like no one wants to step on anybody's toes. No one wants to hurt the other one, or no one wants to like everybody's kind of being respectful to the other, or like they don't they don't want to overstep any boundaries. Everybody's kind of being very passive in their way of actually trying to be respectful, which is kind of a problem, but it's kind of also a good quality that everybody's actually thinking about not hurting each other's feelings, and not ruining any relationships, and not getting in between anyone, and not causing any drama, not causing any conflict. Everybody's kind of just trying to avoid conflict, and but they do want to know about what's going on in your life because they are curious, and they also want to support you and help you and care for you. So it seems actually quite ideal. Like the family dynamic here is actually quite healthy, I feel like. You might not see it in the same way, but I've had experiences with like a lot more toxic family dynamics, and so to me this actually seems very, very healthy. And of course your mom shouldn't have leaked the information, so that's, and your mom shouldn't have, like, that was a problem, of course, with that your mom or some other family member talked on your behalf all throughout your childhood. That's not a good thing, and that's a problem, of course. But besides that, the family still seems quite unproblematic, and maybe a bit like the silent type of family. Like everybody's kind of getting along. Maybe you grew up a bit like outside of the city, like not like in a small town. Everybody knew everybody, like that kind of dynamic. I feel like I don't know, but it's just but what I'm just gonna say is that like they don't talk bad about you. Like they just don't know you. They would like to get to know you more, and they would want more communication from you, but they also do realize that they are bad at communication themselves. And so it's kind of, I feel like they are kind of aware of that they also play a part in that too. So I feel like there is self-awareness here, like your family members, most of them, they do have self-awareness to the point where they can actually see that they also could maybe also help you in other ways. Like but they seem a bit passive about it, because they feel like, oh, if they are helping you and offering you help, then you will know that they know. Like then you will be able to figure that out, that they are offering help because they know. Like and so, but it's kind of an excuse, I feel like they tell themselves that so that they can remain passive and actually not helping. It's not because they don't want to. It's just that if they could not do it, they would want to not do it, but they still want to help. Like if they would help, if you would ask them for help, they would do it in a heartbeat. Like they would be happy doing it. But there's also this where they are doing their own thing and busy with their own lives, and so it's kind of actually working out for them that they don't know, because then they can be kind of passive for now, but they know that they will know in the future, and they are aware that when they know, they will have responsibility to. Okay, I feel like some of you have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about, and I'm very sorry if you're just like very, very confused in this whole reading. I just got that message that some of you are like, what do they know that they know, and what do I know that they know, and like what the hell is she talking about? And I kind of can hear that, like when I get it played like back to me, I can hear that maybe this sounds a bit confusing, but I'm sorry. Like I tried to explain it in the way that where it would make most sense, but like it is a bit confusing, I guess. But yeah, sorry about that. But I do feel like they your family members are talking about how you're a bit maybe unmotivated right now, that you need to go back to doing what you were doing before. If you are taking a break from what you were doing before, they feel like you need to go back to doing that, and that and they are talking about that you also maybe that you're a bit depressed right now. And for some of your family members, that's that's normal, of course, from what you've been through, but they also feel like maybe you need some help to actually get back to whatever you were doing before, like maybe some kind of therapy or something like that could maybe shed light on something, I don't know, or help you cope with the trauma, or help you get through some of your blockages, or I don't know. But all in all, they seem to care about you and they talk about you in a caring way. But they do also see you as a bit shy, and so it's a bit hard to get through to you because you're a bit shy. But I don't know if that's your fault or the fact that your mom was also always talking for you in your childhood, and that it's kind of made your family members believe that, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think I'm just repeating myself now. I'm just so. I think I'll just end the reading here because I don't think there's any more information coming through. But and yeah, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. And yeah, have a lovely day, and bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose this Cosmic Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. Group number 4. So group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4, what's group number 4's family saying about group number 4 behind their back? Okay, so there's something about a goose, and so it's kind of a kind of sense that it's symbolic for some family members. Maybe talking about how you are a bit of a loose goose, like that you crave attention from the other gender, which is very, very bad, and I'm very sorry to deliver that message. But I'm sensing that there might have been some talk about maybe a profile picture on Facebook or some kind of picture on Instagram where you might have had like some kind of dress on or something where it might have been a bit revealing or something, and some family member, maybe this is just one family member who's a bit old-fashioned or a bit narrow-minded or something like, and this one person might have seen that profile picture and thought that you were craving attention with your body, like using your body to get attention, or that it was too revealing, that you shouldn't have revealed so much skin or something like it. There might also have been like a party picture, like you might not even have revealed so much skin in the photo, but the photo might have been in a setting where it might have been in a club or something, and some family member felt like you were sending the wrong message or something, that's not the kind of message you should be sending to people, that you're some kind of party person, or that you're like, and I feel like this person has something against that. Like this person seems to have like a very strong opinion on people who yeah, like I don't know, it's I'm also like, I'm sensing that for some of you, you could be male. This could have been like, you might have posted some photo of you in the gym where you didn't have your shirt on or something because you wanted to show your muscles or something. Like, this is more specific for one of you or a few of you. I know that it's not the majority, but I'm just like, this kind of pissed someone off. Someone in your family got pissed off because of that photo, or because you have been posting photos like that on your Instagram or something, and they disapprove of that. Like, they don't approve of it. They feel like maybe you have an Instagram account where you have dedicated that Instagram account to bodybuilding, or to something where you are, there is a purpose of it. Like, you're not just showing off your body because you want attention. Like, you are actually participating in a sport, so it's like you're just showing off your results, and so you don't see how it's a problem, and it isn't a problem. Like, it's just a hobby like everything else, and there's nothing wrong with sharing your hobby on Instagram. Like, it's not a problem to share your art on Instagram. If you're a good painter, you would share your art. Why wouldn't you be able to share your bodybuilding results as well? Like, that's an art form too, in a way. And so, like, I feel like but I feel like there is just one family member who's not very nuanced. Like, they don't think very nuanced. They don't, maybe they just don't understand it. Like, they don't understand. You might have a hobby. It might not be bodybuilding. It might be something completely different. I don't know. But it's like this person in your family, they just don't understand it, and they don't approve of this. It could also have something to do with like the spiritual community, tarot, being into something a bit more occult, or a bit more like something a bit alternative, I guess. Like, and you might have posted some of it on your Instagram, or maybe you have an account that's dedicated to the occult, or your interest in the occult, or interest in tarot, or something like that, and for some reason your family is talking shit about it behind your back. They are not approving of it. They feel like you are seeking attention, or that you're craving attention. That it's also like they feel like it's not you, like it's not genuinely you, like you're not like that, and so you're playing a character on your social media. Like I feel like one family member might have said that you're kind of switching up your personality in order to get likes. Like, you're just and this is horrible. It's horrible. Like, it's horrible that this person thinks this way, and like I'm sorry for you, because it's not justified in any way, and even if they try to, like, this is not right. Like, but they are talking about how you switch up, and you just change your personality or your interests or your hobbies accordingly, or according to the amount of likes. Like, you try out one persona on Instagram, like bodybuilding or something, and then you try it out and see how many likes you get from it. And if you realize that you don't get that many likes from it, then you go do some tarot or something, or something spiritual instead, and see how many likes you get from that. And this is just that one person talking. This is not the truth. I am very aware that this is not the truth, but this is how this one family member sees you, like, and talks about you behind your back, that you're kind of just pushing different personas in order to get attention to your social media account. And it's kind of like, I think like you might have like ADD or ADHD or something, so maybe you're just one of those people who gets one interest and then you get tired of it, and then you go to something else and do something else, and you do that, and then you get tired of it. And like, I'm that way too. Like, I have had like sudden interests, and then they have gone away, and then they were replaced with something else. And I think everybody kind of, like, you don't have to have ADD or ADHD to do that. Like, it's kind of normal human behavior to do one thing and then get tired of it when it's not really fun to you anymore. Like, you can do bodybuilding, and then like it's exciting in the beginning, and then you realize at some point it's really not that fun anymore. And that's okay. You are allowed to change your mind. Like, you're not supposed to stick with one thing, and then that's the one thing that you have to do the rest of your life. That's just nonsense. Like, you try out things, and everybody does that. That's normal human behavior, to try out a thing and see if it fits. Like trying on a glove and see if it fits. If it doesn't, then you go get another one, try another one. Like, it's not so yeah, how would you know if bodybuilding was fun to you if you didn't try? Like, I wouldn't know. Like, I have never been into bodybuilding myself, and like, I don't know what it's about, and I don't really get it. But like, to me, like, from the outside, of course, I don't really understand it, and so, but that's because I'm not, like, I've never tried it. Maybe if I tried it, I would realize, well, it's a bit fun, and maybe there is actually something to it, but then I would very likely get really tired of it, like, and then do something else. And so, like, like, you can't judge. Like, this is the thing where like you're doing the right thing by trying out different things. It just shows that you're open-minded, an open-minded person, and that you're open to the possibility that maybe bodybuilding is you. And so you try it out. You're not like this toxic family member who is just judging bodybuilding because they don't understand it, because they've never tried it, they don't know what it's about, and so they just judge you for it. But you try it and see what you think of it, like, before you I feel like you don't form an opinion about anything unless you actually give it a shot, which is what makes you different from the rest of your family. I feel like the rest of your family, not only that one family member, but like your family in general, I think they seem to be quite opinionated. They form an opinion about things really quickly without actually knowing what it's about. Like, so they have an opinion about bodybuilding even though they have never tried it, and they have formed an opinion about tarot even though they've never ever had a reading done for them or tried to do a reading for someone else, but they still have an opinion about it. And so, like, they judge things before they, like, even without knowing what it is. Like, and I think you are more open-minded and minded in that sense. You're more open to trying out things and see if you like them, and if you don't like them, you stop doing it. Like, but I feel like in your family that's not something you can actually do, because when you try things, your family will tell you that's not you. That's not like, oh, you shouldn't be doing bodybuilding because that's not you. Like you're not that type of person. You used to be that geeky child when you were younger. So and then you were like into music and books, and like that doesn't fit into this persona of the bodybuilder, and that's prejudice. Like that's putting one thing in a box and something else in another, and feeling like those two things can't coexist at the same time, even though they can. And like, yeah. So yeah, Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords. I feel like the family might be talking about you as a bit defensive, and that's typical. Okay, so your family keeps pushing you, poking at you, poking at all like they keep poking at you, criticizing you, saying, oh, questioning everything you do, and asking you like, oh, do you really want to do bodybuilding because you're like or do you really like tarot? Is that really you? Like you're such a rational person. Why would you want to go into the spiritual world or the spiritual community? Is that really you? Like, aren't they kind of nuts, all of them? And so would you really want to be associated with that kind of crowd? Like, wouldn't you want people to respect you more? And aren't you afraid that if you go into that kind of community that you will be disrespected by the people, or that you will have a hard time getting a job in the future because you will be associated with the spiritual community? Or like and like I feel like that's maybe what your family has been trying to do to you. Like they have been questioning everything, making you question your choices, and making you question who you are and what you're doing and your actions, and why you like things and why you want to do certain things, and even though it's just what you're spiritually guided to do, and so you should do what you feel like you're guided to do. Like people, you shouldn't listen to other people, because other people, they can give you advice, but they don't know what path you're on. You are the only one who knows the path that you're on, and you're the only one that can follow your path. And if your path is sending you in these directions, there is a point in it. And even if it doesn't maybe it doesn't really make sense to most people that someone who's into the spiritual community would also be into bodybuilding, because those two things do seem a bit like not in alignment with each other. Like if you look at it with prejudice, like looking at it in a boxy way where you want things to fit perfectly into each box, and maybe it's hard to see the connection between those two things, but maybe in the future you will realize the connection, and maybe it will be more obvious in the future, and maybe in retrospect, like looking back at it, you will realize that it made sense. It was just not obvious at the time, but in the future it might make sense. I don't know, like I can't see the connection right now, like if you would ask me, but like maybe in the future I will see the connection. That's the thing with time, like we don't understand everything right in the moment, or like sometimes it takes time before we realize things, and certain things will only be apparent to us in the future. And so maybe there is a purpose of what you're doing, and you're following your purpose, and you're following it wherever it leads you, and maybe it will be apparent in the future why you had these two interests, even though they didn't seem to make sense. Like but it will make sense in the future. That's just my point. And like getting back to this, that I think your family has been poking at you, questioning everything, criticizing everything you do, and then they see you as defensive. Like they've been attacking you all the time, like small attacks though, like teeny tiny attacks, but every day for a long time. So small attacks every day. And so that, and then like you've been reacting to it, you've been defending what you believed in and defending your bodybuilding or defending your tarot, defending the spiritual community, defending whatever, your gemstones, your incense, your interest in collecting whatever, I don't know, but and you've been defending your hobby, and so now they spin it around and look at you as defensive, that so there's something wrong with you because you're defensive, but you're just defending yourself because they keep attacking you, and so you are just reacting to them acting in a negative way towards you. And so who's really to blame for that? Like, okay, so I don't think it's you. I think you have like but yeah, so I feel like also with the Nine of Swords, I think people might see you as a bit like you don't have direction, like you're kind of going like these swords here, like they are like going in different directions. Like you seem to be have like a lot of like different like irons in the on the stove, or like I don't know how to say that, but like a lot of things cooking at the same time. And maybe some of your family members feel like you're doing too many things at once, and that there don't seem to be direction, and it doesn't seem to form your identity. Like maybe you're a creative and you like to create stuff. Like you like to like maybe you're just a very talented person with a lot of different talents. Like you like to write, and you like to paint, and you like to make podcasts, and you like to make vlogs or TikToks, but you also like to make music, write songs, and do advertisements for, maybe that's your daytime job, like you're maybe doing advertisement or in advertising. That's of course specific for one of you, but like I feel like maybe you do something creative for a living as well as your job, like doing Photoshop or advertisements for companies, or maybe you should be doing that, or maybe some family members feel like you should be doing that instead, or using your creative gifts for actually something that can give you money or make you money, like and like you might also do embroidery, crocheting, all kinds of creative things, because some of you might be really good at just creating stuff, and you have a creative vision and you fulfill it very nicely, and but somehow some of your family members feel like, oh, but you're doing too many things. Like that's not how you get famous. Like, and I don't think I think some of you don't even want to get famous. Like, you just want to do your creative projects, and you want people to kind of get, like, not be all up in your business about it, really, and keep their noses for themselves, to themselves, and not but I feel like for some of you, you might have said to one family member or that you would want to be famous one day, or maybe your one family member just kind of figured that was your end goal in all of this, and felt like, and I feel like this family member is talking to the rest of the family members about how you're never gonna get famous because you're doing too many different things. Like Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, or whatever, Van Gogh. But he was just a painter. Like, and Shakira is just a singer, and yeah, you get the point. Like, that the people who are famous are usually just famous for one thing that they are brilliant at. Like, and they don't stretch themselves out onto so many different fields. And I feel like for some reason your family members feel like you're doing too many things. Like, you should focus on one thing and just become really good at that. Like, focus on your writing and become a really good author, or focus on your painting and become a really good painter. Like, that you need direction and you need to do one thing. But I feel like that's a bit archaic, in a way. Like, I feel like, why would we have to just do one thing if you're a multi-talent? Like, if you can do a lot of different creative things, why would you have to choose one? Like, why can't you be a painter and a singer and an actor and an author? Like, why would you have to suck at like everything if you do it all at once? Why can't you be brilliant at everything? Like, why do we have that idea that you can only do one thing and excel at that, and like, but I don't know. But I feel like that's kind of what your family is talking about, that you're doing too many things at once, and that especially if you're doing something on social media, like vlogging, or doing TikToks or YouTube, or doing something that is video. For some reason, like, even I'm a YouTuber, of course, and so but I get that prejudice as well, because it seems as if the video form, like, if you do YouTube, it gets into the same category as TikTok for some reason, and for some reason TikTok is considered like this horrible thing. Like, and most people agree that TikTok is horrible for some reason. And I don't know, I don't have TikTok on my phone because, like, I don't, honestly, like, I don't really get TikTok, but, like, I don't get the concept. But it's not because I hate it. Like, it's not because I have, like, a strong opinion about it. It's just that I think I have too much ADD to be on TikTok, because, like, the thing with the videos, like, always, like, new video, like, it's a bit too much. Like, but I don't know. It's a personal preference. It's not like I'm not hating on TikTok. I think it's good, and many creators have had success on TikTok, and that's great for them. but yeah, I feel like if you do something that has to do with video in any way, like it's kind of looked down upon, because then you're just like an attention-seeking person, and you're not really doing anything. You're just like, I don't know. It has a bad rep for some reason, and I feel like if you're doing that, like, then your family might be looking down upon that and thinking that you should do something more traditional, like writing books or painting pictures, because that's how people got famous in the past. And I don't know if it's actually a great way to get famous now. But of course, older people will always think that way. And I think that is true, though. Like, there are certain things that will always survive. Like, books will survive. Paintings will survive. TikTok might not. And so, yeah, maybe it is a better long-term option for you if you chose to focus on something that's more traditional and not something that is a day fly. I don't know if that's a word, but like something that's just like that exists one day and then it dies. But I think, I feel like also your family members, they want you to do something that's more permanent. Also in terms of, like, I feel like if you don't have an education, I think your family members are pushing you or talking about pushing you in that direction, because they feel like that you need something to fall down on if your creative projects don't actually don't succeed. Like, if you don't succeed with that, then it's good to have a craft. It's the old school way of thinking it, that everybody should have a craft that they can fall back on. And so they want you to have something like an education, become a teacher or something, and then you can have that as your daytime job, and then you can do your creative projects on the side. But they just don't realize that if you're gonna become a teacher, you're gonna become a full-time teacher, and you're not gonna have any spare time to actually do any of the creative project, and you'll never, like, there's also that quote, I don't know where it was from, but like, if you get something to fall back on, like, then you are gonna fall back on it. Like, you're always, like, if you choose to get an education and become a teacher but really you want to write and become an author, then you're always going to end up as a teacher, because you're not gonna. You need to put. You need to believe in it. You need to put in the time, and you need to take a chance on it. Because if you don't take a chance on it, like, you're always, like, if you get something that's reliable, something that, like, if you get a job that you can rely on, you're gonna rely on it for the rest of your life, because it's gonna be safe for you, it's gonna feel comfortable for you, and you're not gonna want it to go away, because you will, like, because every person is actually, like, they seek safety, they seek the security in a job, and if they have it, they will not pursue a career in something creative, because it's like they wouldn't want to they wouldn't want to sell like the cow for the I don't know, it's like a fairy tale with where you sell a cow for something else, and like the others, yeah, I don't know, but I feel like, yeah, your family, they seem to not like, I wish I could say that they talk about you in a positive way. They don't, but they do in a, like, if you look at it indirectly, or if you look at it from another perspective, like they actually see that you're very talented and they see that you're creative, but they feel like you're doing too many things at once instead of focusing on one thing that is gonna lead to your success. And it's like, if you look at it in a positive way, or try to see the positive side of it, it is because they actually believe that you could succeed, that you could become famous if you had direction, if you didn't spread yourself out too thin, and actually if you focused on one thing. I feel like your family, like they seem to all agree that you could actually make it if you focused on one thing. So there is a belief in you. Like, I also feel like when I was thinking about, like, when I got the message about you needing an education, I also felt like your family members, they seem to all believe that you would excel in school, and they don't seem to actually be like they don't seem to have disbelief in that. Like, they believe that you can actually excel in school, and that's also the reason why they want you to go to school, because they feel like you can do it. Like, if you can do it, why don't you just do it? Like, there are some people who are not capable of or who are capable but maybe have certain disadvantages that makes it very hard for them to go to the university or whatever. But it seems as if your family actually believes that you could easily pass any education if you started it. Like, that you could easily get through it and get your diploma, get your degree. So I don't think anybody questions your intelligence and your capability. So, but I'm gonna shuffle a bit more. So what do people talk about when they talk about group number 4? What does group number 4's family say about group number 4 behind their back? So 9 of Pentacles. So I think this actually came out reversed, but I kind of reversed it. So it's kind of this. I feel like it's 2 cards in one. Like, I feel like certain people in your family see you as very independent, and while others see you as very dependent. And so there seems to be like a bit of a disagreement here within the family, like or people have different opinions of you. Some people see you as someone who is like, who thrives on your own, like you're capable of doing everything on your own. You're self-sufficient in a way, but then others seem to see you as very dependent, and maybe it's because they don't maybe they know a bit more, or maybe they know a bit less. Like maybe you are a bit dependent on your parents, so your parents feel like they feel like you're a bit dependent on them because you depend on them for money or something, and then so they kind of see you like that, and then maybe your aunts and uncles and cousins or whatever, they see you as a bit more independent because they see you from the outside, and they might not know that you are being supported by your parents, and I don't know, but I'm gonna shuffle a bit more. So what does group number 4 is family? Okay, so ten of swords. So this could have something to do with religion. I think some family members might actually look at you as a bit of a kook, or because you might be religious or spiritual. You might have certain beliefs in the afterlife, or in some, like, you might have, maybe you went, some of you joined some kind of group, like a spiritual group that might have looked a bit like a sect or a cult of some kind, but I don't know if it was, but I think that's the family's version of it. Like that's how they saw it, that it was a bit of a cult that you were in. But like I think you might have had this, like you might have sought answers about the afterlife. You might have been this might have been something that preoccupied you for a while, preoccupied your brain. Like you were very determined on finding answers about the afterlife or the meaning of life, or what was before life, or something like, and I feel like some family members felt like it was a bit manic, that you were too preoccupied with this, and that it seemed unhealthy how much you were focused on it, maybe at that time. I feel like some family members might have been a bit concerned about that, like maybe your parents might have been a bit concerned because you might have talked about it a lot with your parents or your siblings, like talking about the afterlife, or some kind of realization that you had about the afterlife, or what was before life, or the meaning of life, or something like that. You might have come to some kind of realization that you saw as a bit of an epiphany. Maybe you got it in your dream, or you got it in maybe you got it psychically, like you received some kind of message or something from spirit, or from some you might have had a freak accident, or not freak accident, but freak incident, or like something freaky happened, and it made you realize that there's more to life, and it made you believe strongly in something. And or this, if it doesn't resonate, it might be just for some of you, but I feel like you had some kind of epiphany, and I think you were open about it to some family members, and I think they got a bit concerned with this, like you were being also a bit too certain of it, like they felt like you were maybe a bit even a bit like they might have thought you were a bit psychotic or something, that because you got it, maybe someone talked to you or you heard some voices say it to you or something, and you said that to your parents, and your parents might have been very creeped out because they felt like maybe you were becoming schizophrenic or something. Maybe schizophrenia runs in your family, so this really scared your parents or something. But I feel like it's, I think this epiphany might have actually saved your life, and you know that, like you know that this changed your life, and you might have been in a very bad time in your life where you were maybe even thinking of committing suicide, or I know that's more specific for a few of you, but I feel like there might have happened something in your life where you were just about to give up on it, and then you got your answer that made everything clear to you, that now you knew what the purpose of your life was, and so it helped you keep going, and it helped you gain direction. And so yeah, some of your family members might feel like you gained a bit too much direction, and the direction were leading you in different ways, or I don't know, but I think it was direction nonetheless, and I think you were given that. That's a gift that you got, and we shouldn't talk down on gifts, like things that actually saved us. And I feel like your parents or your family might have been concerned about something when they actually should have been concerned about you long before, like before this epiphany. Like they shouldn't have been concerned with your epiphany or your certain religious beliefs. They should have been concerned with that thing that this epiphany saved you from, like this period in your life where you were very down, and so that's when they should have been concerned. And so you might have felt like that was actually a bit like they were talking down on that one thing that actually saved you, and that it's actually a bit disrespectful and a bit wrong, when they should have, like, where was that concern before when you actually needed it from your parents or from that family member, or but yeah, I still feel like some of your family members, not necessarily your parents, just I think your parents might understand now what it was, but I still feel like some family members might be talking shit about it still, like talking about how you were so weird for joining that cult, or that you were just psychotic, or that there was something wrong with you, and that there still is, because it's like you can't escape that, because even if you're not even in the cult now, it still seems as if people still associate you with that. Like it's I don't know. But with a Prince of Swords, I think it could have been some kind of Illuminati thing, like because of the triangle. So like the cult could have been something that had to do with Illuminati, or the occult, or magic, or Freemasons, or even Mormons to some extent. But even though like Mormons have nothing to do with Illuminati, I'm not saying that. But but I think people talk about you as also, like, I feel like some people in your family might be, some family members might be saying that you're a bit high and mighty now after you found religion, that you think you're better than everyone else, that you know the truth, and that that kind of pisses people off, that you think you believe, that you think you know something about the truth that they don't know, or that, and that kind of makes people uneasy, or make people feel like you. How would you know? Like, how would you know if that's correct? But like, or that kind of energy. I'm sensing that kind of vibe from these people, that they feel like you're a bit sanctimonious and like high and mighty, like you think you're the shit now because you found religion, or you've realized some kind of truth that about the meaning of life or something, and then now you know, and you had that epiphany or something, and like they might just be jealous. I don't know, like and maybe they just don't understand. Like, it's. I don't think they are jealous. Like, that's just a typical thing you say about someone who's like. But it's more that, like, I think some people can't handle the fact that other people know, or that they believe. Like, people who are non-believers kind of get pissed off when they are talking to believers, because it's nice to believe in something. It's nice to have the belief that that when you die, there's an afterlife, and there's a God, and that there's a purpose of your life, that your life has a purpose. It's good thoughts. It's a good thing, and comforts a lot of people, and it's nice. And when people are non-believers, they lack that comfort. They don't have that, and they are afraid of death, and afraid of life, and afraid of, like, not knowing, and anxious about their purpose, and like and so they feel like everybody should feel that way, because they are feeling that way. They feel like it's arrogant when people don't feel that way, or they feel like it's naive to not feel existential angst. Like, or like, people want other people to suffer because they are suffering themselves. So like they want other people to take part in the suffering, so that we can all suffer together. And maybe that's also a very community-oriented thought. Like, it's either we should all suffer, or we should all be blessed, or like there shouldn't be anything in between. Maybe it is a bit I don't know, but yeah, there is something about you that kind of makes these people a bit like, you piss them off in a way. Like, some of your family members get a bit pissed off because they feel like you're a bit arrogant, and you're a bit full of yourself, and you believe in yourself, and you have confidence in yourself, which other family members might lack. They might lack the same confidence, and so when they see you being confident in your gifts and in your purpose, then and in your person as well, like your personality, even though they think your personality is all over the place, or that you are in an identity crisis or whatever, you're not. Like, you're actually confident in your identity. Your identity is just very, very broad. You are very versatile, and that's not a problem for you, and it shouldn't be a problem for others. But of course, I feel like your family just, like, they like to put you down because of because of their because of your arrogance, even though you're not necessarily arrogant, but they perceive you as arrogant, and so the perceived arrogance make them want to put you down because they want to humble you, or make you more like them, or make you question things because they question things, and and criticize you because they are very self-critical themselves, and like, I don't know. But yeah, never say you've figured out the truth about anything. Like, if you say that, people are gonna hate you, and like, even if you have, even if like that's the thing, like you shouldn't, like it's a horrible thing, because like I've been doing this like a lot throughout my life, trying to find the truth, or find the meaning of life, find out what does it all mean? Like, where do we go when we die? Where were we before we were born? Were we anything, or did we just like, what is before and what is after, and what was before, like before time, and what was before, like who created were we created? Was anything created? How did things just appear out of nowhere? Things can't appear out of nowhere. It should, but things have to appear out of nowhere, because like it can't, like, but like, if you figure out any of this, like if you figure out one truth or one answer to any of these questions, you can't tell it to anyone. You have to keep it to yourself, because if you tell it to people, then people are going to judge you for that, and see and look at you as someone with a like grandiosity, like superiority complex, God complex, grandiosity, that you think you have figured out like the meaning of life, that if you try to figure that out, if you actually succeed, everybody's gonna judge the shit out of you, and you're never gonna recover from it. Like, your reputation is never gonna recover from it. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, I don't know, but I feel like it's it is what it is, but it's yeah. But I think that is all I have for you, group number 4. I hope this reading was helpful, or if it was, please subscribe to my channel, and even if it wasn't helpful, please subscribe to my channel anyways. Like, support the channel, and yeah, I hope you'll watch my next video, or the video after that, if the next one doesn't well, if it's not interesting to you, you shouldn't watch it, but yeah, have a very nice day, and bye.